Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth round of the 2013 LFSCART Series. It is the Speedweeks Road 250K from Kyoto Grand Touring Reversed Open Config at the Kyoto Ring, Kyoto, Japan. 15th of June 2013. Jonathan Palmer and Dominik Engel with you, and it's the start of the Speedweeks, Dom, and we know the Speedweeks always culminate in the Kyoto 500 in 2 weeks' time, but it's usually been another Kyoto Oval round, but this year it is a road course round. What are we expecting today?
Well, first of all, we're expecting people to turn on right a lot more than usually. K32R is probably the hardest track so far, balance-wise, getting the speed out of it, and also probably even overtaking-wise, because really there are only two corners where realistically you can pass someone without the person in front making a mistake, being the two hairpins on around the oval. And well, it's probably going to be rather spread out because, as I said, it's very hard to get the speed right here, and making one mistake around the lap can lose you a lot of time.
So what this configuration is, it's Kyoto 32. Unfortunately, we don't have an official track map, but we'll use what's available to the public. Right side of your screen, you see it. It's exactly the same as Kyoto Grand Prix Long, except we use the other side of the oval. Standard Kyoto Grand Prix Long uses turn 1 of the oval. This one uses turns 3 and 2 in the order of this. We go the opposite Kyoto Grand Prix Long, so this is technically reversed. And it totally changes the character of the track. Instead of having two medium to high speed corners coming into and out of the oval, it makes two slow hairpins. Makes it a challenge, doesn't it?
Well, it's certainly the second one makes it is quite tight on the exit. I mean, you're really going from the wide 4-5 lane wide oval into the very, very, very narrow second hairpin just after the first split. And well, the first one's also very tricky because you can miss your braking point very easily since it's so wide, and you're just losing focus for a second, and you're gonna be just driven by the next person right behind you.
And I always kind of think that Kyoto Grand Prix Long is kind of one of the best sort of tracks in Lift for Speed. It usually gives some great racing. It's always, great kind of way to challenge drivers, with the way the track flows. You get a lot of corner exits right to get to the next straight. To you personally, what's the biggest challenge of this layout?
For me personally, Sector 2, since usually you would be building speed up through the long sweeping corners, but in the reverse direction, you're entering the corners with high speed and scrubbing speed off as you're exiting them, which obviously makes your entry speed way more important than on the forwards configuration. Also, the last corner on the outside doesn't have a curb there. Anything's just pure grass. So if you put a wheel off, you're instantly gone if you're not careful. And it's the same for a few other corners. Also, the bridge turn, that corner under the bridge, also no curb on the outside of that. So I hope we don't see any massive spins with people being collected there in the first few laps. But it's not impossible that could happen.
Alrighty, we'll get a little more into the details of today's race, but first, a look at the top 15 in each of the points tables. First, Drivers' Championship, in the lead by 46 points after winning West Hill and finishing third in the first 2 rounds. Yessi Telkalev, 46 back. Artu Yilostalo. Tony Latinmaki, round 1 winner, is third. Fourth, Krasimir Ivanov. Fifth, Ronnie Krampus. Sixth, Yanni Vahakovas. Tied for seventh, Robin Heisman and Thorsten Ulrich, both having the same finishing position. I'm unable to break their positions, but also on 63 points We've got Jaroslav Dominik in 9th. 10th is Zdenek Kagash, one of the long-time participants in LFSCART. Mateusz Pipelka, 11th. Tied for 12th on 50 points. Timo Suninen and Jarl Tyen. Suninen and Tyen winning rounds 1 and 2 respectively. Neither of them have participated in another round at this time. 14th, Nathan Lamont, and 15th, Ilari Usela. A total of 38 drivers have participated so far. Little less than we've had at this point in earlier seasons, but still fairly good, even though the individual round attendance is low. Team Championship leader Core Racing, but only 8 points ahead of Genuine Racing. Pretty close up there. 32 points back in 3rd. Race Green Autosports 4th. Dynamics Racing. Team Virus 5th. 77 back. Also 77 back. Savage Sim Sports. Last Lap Motorsports 7th. Iron Club 8th. 9th Infinity. 10th is another Infinity version. Also 11th. Team Laptop Shop. Team Jack 12th. UK Computing Team 13th. Dustin Dawes returning the UKCT to the leagues of LFS last round at West Hill. Our Force Team in 14th, only having a driver in the first round so far. Infinity Esports Racing instance in 15th. Sisu Grand Prix is 16th and Equestria Daily 17th. Those are all 17 teams that have participated. And the final table in LFSCART, Nations Cup. Finland, with a lot of drivers stacking the field, a lot of Finns in LFS in the last half year plus. Finland has a 66.5 point lead. Remember, the Nations Cup is the average of the top 2 finishing drivers for a nation. Teams is the combination of the top 2, but nation is averaged over 2 automatically. Czech Republic 2nd, Latvia 3rd, Netherlands 4th, Canada 5th, 6th Bulgaria, 7th Germany on 29. Germany, of course, usually one of the more dominant in LFSCART in the past. Norway 8th, Austria 9th, 10th, United States of America. Lithuania 11th, England 12th, 13th, Poland 14th, Ireland on 4 points. Hungary 0 points from Roland Osa, the Hungarian in LFSCART, with a DNF in the last round. Also 16th is Turkey. So, Dom, as we head on to the formation lap here, we'll take a quick look at the grid as we watch Martin Kapal here in the mid-pack. On first, on pole, Ilari Usela. Second, Matthias Pikarainen. Third, Artu Ilostelo. Fourth, Jani Tormela. Fifth, Jesse Telkala. Sixth, Kapal. Seventh, Valtteri Pitkänen. Eighth, Thomas Karini. Ninth, Thorsten Ulrich. 10th, Roland Osa. 11th, Skimantas Stankevicius. 12th is Ronnie Kronpush. 13th, Zdenek Kagash. Dustin Dawes, 14th. And 15th and final, Jaroslav Dominik. So 15 cars down. What is the key to the start of today's race?
Well, I would say keeping your nose clean in turn 1 and through the first few laps in the fast corners. It's certainly going to be pretty hard to keep your car on track with another car right in front, so the leader will obviously have an advantage. Otherwise, tires should be not too bad here. The two very long straights should really make sure that they get enough time to cool off after the twisty bits, and I don't know, I think it will depend on strategy again and on who prepared properly, just like in the last few races. And, well, it's not necessarily going to be the poster to who wins this.
In talking with some of the drivers here in the paddock before all the sessions started today, they all indicate fuel should be no issue. Fuel was an issue yesterday in the LFSCART Light round, with almost all the drivers who were left on the track running out of fuel halfway on the cooldown lap. James Peace kind of gave us a little bit of a wonder when he was clutching through a couple of the corners on the anti-penultimate lap. But he still won, and it was pretty good yesterday. Some good action around the mid-pack. Hopefully we see a little more today. So as Usela comes into the grid, they'll stop at the grid. Once everyone's formed, 5-second warning. Lights will come on a second at a time. Once all 5 are on, a pause between 2 and 5 seconds. Sometime in that pause, they will all go out, and it will be go, go, go. We see the field shaping up in the back. And we have a spinner. On board with the Telcala for the start. But as we get, lights are coming on. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Telcala jumped the start. Telcala jumped the start. Huge jump, green flag. Telcala just committing a huge jump start. That's just blatant. But I think there was like a World Touring Car or some event at like Bahrain where John Lacey did the same thing. He jumped and he just kept going and took the penalty. So as we head into turn 1, everyone looking clean so far.
Telcala isn't going to have to worry about any draft in front of him now, because he's, well, roughly 10 past the Maldonado car lengths in front of everyone else now, after he, of course, did that great jump start in F1 last year. I think was it at Spa? I don't remember. Although he didn't do it by that much. There we go, stop-go penalty applied to Telcala. That's certainly going to put him to the back of the grid.
Yes, the most blatantly obvious penalty statement message in the history of Live for Speed. Velo Falkenberg, after issuing the stop-go penalty, gives jump start. I think that is going to be a classic in Live for Speed.
We need a new term for that jump start. That was the jump start. Didn't just jump ahead. He dived ahead.
That wasn't even like, yeah, it was a long hold, but he was rolling in before 2 seconds of full red.
But he was already way past everyone else in the grid before the lights even came on. So I don't really know what I'm going to have to say about this one. But it certainly is the most obvious penalty I've ever seen in an LFSCART race.
Off at the back, Ronnie Chrome push.
Also, there's another car off just there.
So will Telcala come in this first time to serve penalty?
Nope, he's going past the pit exit.
He's got
entry
3 total laps. So that's the first pass. He has 2 more before serving. That's just incredible.
How did he just get it so wrong? I just don't understand. The only explanation I can give is that he accidentally shifted up, but when he knew he had done it, he just went with it, even though it was that early.
Looking out here in the back, Kareni to the inside of, trying to go to the inside of Ulrich, exiting that first hairpin onto the oval. No go for him. Just ahead, Mark Kapal in the slipstream of Yanni Tormola in the oval. Big slipstreaming chance here. Easy cornering Kapal, easy to the inside around Tormola. Tormola possibly having no reply, but this hairpin coming in to look at Tormola try to dive to the inside.
No, Kapal just outbraked himself. He was way too fast. And a spin in the background. That's Kareni. I heard a contact then. Kareni's spun. That would be a few places lost for him. Well, 1 place at least lost for him. Really incredible so far. No one's got any core temperature in their tires.
There was also a jump start, I believe, from Stankovicius, which the admins are double checking.
But Telkula coming in for his goal penalty. There we go. Stankovic is with a drive-through.
Stankovic is getting drive-through. He started and then stopped again. I think the stop-go is for Telkula's just total blatant disregard of everything.
he thought, oh well, I'm gonna start ahead. I need to be home early today. Didn't quite work out. I think he rejoins almost dead last of all the cars. Also, Stankovic is serving as drive-through in the same lap. Oh, Yasela leading, just like he did in round 1, but he's not far away from Picarina, so will be interesting to see who's on what fuel strategy and whose tyres are going to turn out how. And then, of course, behind you have the 2-3 ID cars with an all Finnish top 4 at the moment.
You see Telkula already out of the pit lane, so he'll be dropped well back. Yellow here in 3rd position. I believe he just recently joined 3ID in the last few days.
So he claims, yes.
So a little bit of a slight resurgence into LFS leagues for my 3ID Gaming, one of the more better known back in the MOE and IGTC days. Jarno Lahaikanen, a past LFSCART participant in the last season or two for my 3ID. Martin Capel coming through the final chicane and back onto the main straight. 33 laps, 2-hour time limit here.
So far it's very calm, I have to admit. I thought it would be a bit more hectic, but well, maybe I'm a bit too used to the TVO cars that ran around here last Sunday in the Turbo Trophy, which was somewhat closer, I have to say, especially the second rows. Then obviously these cars are well, aero-wide, and of how difficult they are to drive, as Martin Capel almost spins going out of the first hairpin. But yeah, these cars are certainly a lot more difficult to drive, and especially a lot more difficult to drive directly behind each other. So, but still, it's just typical thing of not having quite the packed grid and everyone lining up in the order they're actually fastest in, and well, this is the result. If only we would have 2 raceable tyres in LFS, it would be much better. But, well, we can't have everything.
Torlin putting a few wheels off, exiting that corner.
That's really one of those corners that should maybe have a curve on the exit. Like, well, many corners on reverse configurations in LFS, really.
Close here between Yarda Dominik and Zdenek Gagash, 2 Czech Republic teammates. Stankovic is having a spin under the underpass.
Are they actually team? I don't think they're teammates, are they? They're not entered for the same team.
Telkula working his way. I think they used to. Telkula getting around Dustin Dawes, or excuse me, Roland Dosa easy in the backfield. I think, well, yeah, Kagash has been infinity. I know Jorda has usually been Savage Simsports, as we have Yanni Tormla and Martin Capel side by side into the oval.
That could be interesting. Again, that braking zone for a second hairpin can be just the best opportunity to get someone back. So, unless it's a very clear pass again, which this definitely isn't, then they're still side by
and
side.
Martin did do a lunge onto the inside in the LFSCART light race, taking a variety of different lines. But if you come to the wide, you can get a good cutback. I kind of see that there's a few different lines you can take through that corner.
Already there's only one line, but someone else behind you can just take advantage of whatever line a person in front takes. So if he goes wide, which mostly are gonna do, he can just say, well, I'm gonna brake a bit later, park on the apex, and I'm just gonna take the inside, my friend, and you'll have to see how you cope with it. And that's something we saw a lot during the Turbo Trophy race. And the two hairpins, the one leading onto the oval and off the oval, those are basically the two best overtaking opportunities. Onto the oval, it's obviously best to go down the inside. It's not that important to go wide in. But off the oval, you can overtake down the inside and round the outside, which makes it obviously a lot more interesting.
So with that overtake, Capel into fourth. Pikkarainen in second, 2 seconds behind Ilari Jusela. Fast lap currently held by Jusela with a 2:13.48. Tormla's put it off! Tormla went wide, put it off, kept it from spinning. I think he probably just got a little wheel spin on accelerating. Now he's being tried by Pitkinen.
I won't get him around down in the first hairpin. The inside line is just too much of an advantage. So you gotta try and get this huge. Oh, and he actually clips him up the back there.
Didn't go well.
But he's gonna have a huge run into the hairpin now, just getting the draft right now.
Tormla going for the inside, leaving each other just enough room. They've gone.
No, he hasn't left him any room there. I don't think it was just a few centimeters too, well, maybe half a meter too little. It just, well, both of them crossed paths, and when you cross paths to the last moment, you're probably going to hit each other, and that's what happened just there.
Back in the back, Telkula's march burned from the stern after that epic jump start.
I still think there should be a different term for that, because that wasn't a jump anymore. That was a leap. Probably would have still been a jump start if it was next year's race around here.
That still reminds me of John Lacey's thing. I think it was
not
World
DTM.
Truck. No, I don't. I think it was Bahrain. It was a few years ago.
Speed car, you mean, or what?
Oh yeah, I think it was. It probably was.
It must have been this wannabe NASCAR. Well, it's NASCAR sanctioned series now, I think. Speed car. Although I would know for sure. And Telkula goes down the inside in a double right-hander. Krumpus leaves the room. Oh, and he's
Krumpus spun.
Oh God. I was
Well, that's a way to
keep
some heat in the tires.
Well, I was going to go to a barbecue today. I now don't have to, because, well, his left side tyres are hot enough.
Your barbecue got rained out, didn't it, Dom?
Just a bit.
So Telkula trying to chase down Kagash.
Oh, little lock up there in the slipstream, and he's gonna have him just here already.
Tucklow holding back. Gonna try and get the move a little later. Gosh, I think not wanting to have any of it just kind of... Well, Tucklow may not have been slowing enough, but it's a little close.
Don't move towards each other. Another lockup from Tucklow. Good job he's not on Pirelli's. Otherwise he'd probably have his tread flying into his face, the whole tyre tread flying into his face by now.
For the last step on the podium here early, Capel! Capel's run wide on braking for the final hairpin. He was right behind Ilostallo, and on braking, started to slide wide, started to have several tank slappers, and if he had failed to keep that on the gray stuff, he would have been in one of the world's largest gravel traps.
Well, the largest gravel trap is, I think, still a turn earlier. It's already over on that point. I think he probably would have more likely slammed it into the wall, to be honest, than just into the gravel.
So the race director of the series, Theo Falkenberg, being a German, obviously has an affinity for stats and facts. Still has a keen interest in Mr. Ulrich's performance, considering that he's using number 55 and Thilo's number in LFSCART has usually been the number 55.
Oh God! That's why you almost just span off. Not doing him any well if it's all for that, because he's probably gonna just be overtaken in a minute if he continues driving like that.
Stankovic in the gravel at turn 2. He's gotten out.
He's not too far away from being lapped, actually.
2:14.07 last lap for Ilostallo, 2:13.43 for Capel, so Capel trying to reel in Ilostallo again.
I think Capel will have two cold tyres in the long run, though. They're already blue and we're only on lap 10 now. Who knows how they're gonna act when, well, they'll actually start wearing out. I think this is again gonna be one of those races where people don't change tyres. Like pretty much all races this year.
Races this year a little shorter than last year. Last year pretty much forced a tire change or fuel stop at every round. This year it's a little closer, so if you can conserve it and if you think you can hold out. I think though, like especially this round, like we had at round 1, if there's a safety car, you really have no choice but to pit to get fresh tires. Otherwise, your tires will be too cold on the restart.
Well, yeah, it's not the much how cold they are on the restart. It's more like about how much heat they'll regain when you're putting load on them, because obviously there will be no tread left to generate any heat. while it moves around, and well, we saw what effects that had in round 1. Quite spectacular ones, actually.
Also towards the mid-pack, still close between Ulrich, Pitkänen, and Tormala. But continue to watch Kapal as he works on chasing down Elo Stallo.
Oh, Ulrich cut it off, and Pitkanen's gone past him. Now he's just a sitting duck. That's just pure Hamilton weaving. What on earth is he doing? That was blocking off the finest order there.
Kapal in the pits. Kapal in pits.
That was a short first stint for
Fresh
Martin
tire.
Kapal. Yeah, I'm not sure what Ulrich was doing there. That was pure blocking. There's no other word for it. Like for the jump start of Telka earlier, which there should be really a new term for, but he's already working his way back up. He's currently 9th, past Dustin Dawes now. He's catching up to Kareni also, but at a not too extreme race, so it might take some time till he's at the back of that car. Oh, and well, that's another race DNF for Roland Oser, spectated, and he's called it a day. Which promotes Stankovich's up in place. Dustin Dawes back into the top 9.
Listening into race control, Ulrich, I think they are looking into Ulrich's blocking maneuver.
That was
there
certainly
could be a penalty forthcoming.
That was certainly just that was a block off the finest order. If you Google the word blocking, you'll find a YouTube video with that move there. But yeah, I'm not surprised if he's gonna get a penalty, because that was just plain dangerous, especially in such a narrow part of the track.
Yeah, I think there was a previous penalty for that in a previous round for that. I know he was given a penalty after last round for an incident with a lapping car. He was lapping Dustin Dawes, I believe, and sent Dustin off.
Sent him off into under the bridge at West.
Oh, and the incident that they're referring to, Ulrich had exited pit lane after serving a speeding penalty. And he was a little slower than Tony Lettinmäki, I believe it was.
Oh yeah,
he was coming out of turn 1, and so yeah, sort of a blocking incident there. So that's another one here. Tormala in and Kareni in.
A lot of early pit stops. I'm quite surprised about. I have to admit. Yeah, as soon as Tilo talks about someone using his number, the person using his number is gonna go himself investigate and maybe a penalty. So. Good job on that one. Up between the top two.
Ilari Usela.
Yeah, still
leading.
Still leading by, well, roughly a couple of seconds. Well, probably a second or two. Gaps come down just a little bit over the last few laps, but not too much. There were 2-3 laps where Karainen really got a few tenths back, but not since then. 2.68 seconds to gap on split 2 in the 11th lap, and then 9 seconds behind the leader is Irastalo in 3rd.
Hearing a report that Tormala had a off-course excursion at turn 2, back on.
That's easily done coming out of the pits on cold tyres for the first second. Feels like you're driving on a a cold day with ice and oil on the road sometimes, especially in these cars, which have absolutely no mechanical grip at all when the tyres aren't up to temperature.
Let's watch on board and with Usela and take a track lap. Turn 1, left right chicane while braking. Slowest turn on the track is turn 2. Careful on the gas on the exit, although it could risk a spin there if you're a little too enthusiastic. As Stankovic is ahead for him to lap. Into the first hairpin onto the oval. It's usually that fast left-right chicane in this direction.
Oh, he's really costing him a lot of time here. He should probably just let him go by now, because side-by-side driving is not... Well, it's in the side to rules, I have to say, but touching isn't necessary. Come on, guys.
A little bit of contact with the way lag sometimes is. That could have been a big issue for Usela. Usela shoving in, I think, giving a little bit of a love tap there to Stankovic, giving what for.
Just kindly to remind him that, well, having moved out of the way probably would have been a very nice idea, and he should reconsider it the next time. But with the way the lag is sometimes, it's not a that great idea to do that. You can sometimes end up with you taking the penalty.
And the penalty could sometimes be you being speared off into Netherlands. So, with how we've seen a few people pitting early, do we think this means everyone is possibly going to make a pit? Otherwise, this could result in this sort of a dichotomy between those who are trying to stretch the tires all the way and those who are taking tires in the hopes that it keeps them a little faster and they don't have to worry about so many, perhaps, handling issues.
I'm not really sure why you would never pit early in this car, especially around a fast track where thin tyres are an advantage. So the lead group's doing it right at the moment, unless you have damage, of course, and then I can see why you're pitting early, or massive flat spot, or whatever, or you miscalculated your fuel. But otherwise, you should always just pit as late as possible, especially when there's a late race safety car. You obviously don't have to come in and change tyres, because everyone who's changed tyres already, I think, has probably got to do that. He's got to waste another time going down the pit, stopping for 6 seconds, getting a fresh set of tyres, and yeah, and a warning to car 55 for blocking, as we expected. It's not a penalty, but it's probably not going to end up being another warning if he does it again.
I believe he was warned in his incident with on the rejoin from the pit stop last round.
So that's his second warning. The third time usually isn't a warning anymore.
Not usually. Thilo Falkenberg and Jonathan Provost up in the race control tower, taking care of some of these stewarding decisions. Stuart Baker in the safety car. Safety boat, as we like to call his FZ5. You saw on stream Pickerainen not having as much grief with Stankovic as Usela did, but the gap 3 seconds at the last split.
Well, I must admit that Usela did probably lose maybe, well, for sure a couple of tenths in that lapping maneuver. So I can see why he was angry. But yeah, seems like it hasn't cost him too much overall. Still 3 seconds between the top two. So nothing gained or lost there.
Let's take a look at our good friend Dustin Dawes, currently running in 7th place. Seems to have been keeping the rubber on the road, keeping the nose pointed the right way. Perhaps on for a career best in any series, 7th position if he holds this position.
I'm not sure it's a career best, actually. I did see him spin on the formation lap, though.
Well, that's before the race.
he probably had the welcome mentality of, I'm not going to spin out of my grid spot. To then, well, he did not spin out of his grid spot, Dustin Dawes, unlike Chris Wilkinson, who, if he's watching, should hopefully acknowledge me remembering this, but I doubt he is.
.2:15.42 for Mr. Dawes. Just behind him is Martin Capel on a 2:14.96, still 7 seconds behind, so Dustin's got a little more room. His tire's not looking too bad there.
Tires are fine, really. Actually looking pretty good. Wouldn't be surprised if he's about to pull some of his best laps of the race in the next, let's say, 5 to 7, 8 laps. But yeah, we'll see. Never know. Could be interrupted by a safety boat intervention.
Horn attack of Canadian bacon. Dustin Dawes, of course, the Canadian in LFSCART at the moment. He was very glad to have gotten a good bit of airtime in last round's stream. I think it's always good to see some of the older members of the community, longer time members of the LFS community back in league racing. Usela coming across the start-finish line to complete the 14th scored lap of the race, 15th overall.
To yet another fastest lap of 2:12.16. If he did a 2:16, that would be way off the fastest lap, actually. But yeah, 2:12.16 is gonna be interesting to see what strategies he's on, because I thought he was on a 50-50 strategy in round 1 when he was pulling away like nothing else, and he was rather heavy actually. Didn't pit until the safety car came out, and well, I therefore expect him to pit pretty late again here.
And of course, he will soon surprise you by pitting halfway this
Pretty
time,
early, exactly. Exactly.
Anyone who's just joined us, you're watching the 2013 Round 4 Speedweeks Road 250, part of the LFSCART 2013 series. Here from Kyoto Grand Touring Reversed. John Palmer and Dominik Engel with you. Ilari Usela, as you see on the screen right there, leading from Matthias Pikkarainen. Arttu Jalostalo third. You've missed some interesting bits. Beginning the race, the most inexplicable jump start by Jesse Telkala, who has, for anyone watching, after his stop, worked his way back up to 6th position. A little bit of aggro between a few drivers. Martin Capel trying to get around Nilo Stallo. No luck. Yanni Tormala having a bit of a spin off course excursion while battling with Capel earlier. But I think we could say, Dom, it's been a pretty clean race so far.
Well, pretty clean race. Still think there's some unhappy people out there. As well, always really. It's pretty much a procession race, and it's gonna be undecided until, well, the strategies play out, because I think the people who pitted early are gonna find themselves in a rather bad situation, perhaps, as pretty much always.
Watching Matthias Pikkarainen, Team Virus, currently second, having a little bit of a slow exit to turn 1. Just running a little wide, and on the out of the final corner, excuse me. The exit of the final corner, you have no curb, so if you run off the tarmac, you're on grass, and when you're trying to put the power down, it could be kind of easy to spin out of the final corner.
Yeah, certainly in these cars, because, well, you've got downforce, and if you haven't got the rubber touching the track, all the downforce isn't worth anything, and then the car just goes if you just slam the throttle pedal if you're on the grass. So putting one wheel off is more than enough. It's not gonna thank you for it, that's for sure. Also a popular mistake to take a bit of a excursion, off-road excursion out of that last corner and just run on the grass for a couple of meters.
Of course, the Formula V8 car we're using, 3-liter V8 rear-wheel drive, 450 brake horsepower, 1,323 pounds, at 600 kilograms without fuel or driver. So it's got a pretty good bit of, as Jeremy Clarkson likes to call them, torques.
And a way too large fuel tank, as I think, to be honest. But well, can't change anything about that, unfortunately.
Usela setting fast lap again, 2:12.09. Thilo Falkenberg posits way too big fuel tank or way too little fuel consumption.
I think it would probably be a lot easier for the devs just to change the value for the fuel tank. I'm gonna say too big fuel tank. In 125 liters, that thing could go on for about 3.5 weeks on a tank of fuel. The tyres are never gonna outlast them. Especially not if you're me, who does 10 fewer laps on a set of tyres than his teammate, as I proved last year at LFSCART. But yeah, in my opinion, it certainly has a way too big fuel tank, and from a strategic point of view, it would be better if it had a much smaller one, like 50 liters.
You know, that's something I kind of miss in LFS. You know, everyone's got the same engine. Everyone's got the same sort of...
No, I don't care about that, but I think the biggest issue is there's only in each class category car, there's only really one raceable tyre, and that's mostly it's the R3 tyre, the GTRs, this and the BF1, and you've got the R2s in the Fox, and it's really not nice to see, especially if you think that like Dunlop Michelin for the ALMS provides roughly half a dozen dry compound tyres, so slick compound tyres for the teams at each race, and I think it's just a bit ridiculous that in LFS we only have pretty much one for each car.
Yeah, I kind of miss the ability to vary your strategy by what tyre choice you take, and
of course the brand also doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, that, you know, we've got what, 4 or 5 brands usually: Avon, Chromo,
Got
Michelin.
Chromo, Toro, Michelin, Eurostar, Bridgestone, and Avon, and then we've got, of course, the no-name tires, which are Chromo plate. But it's all just a texture that doesn't make a blind bit of difference to how the car performs or handles. So maybe you could do something with that. Would be, for example, it would be brilliant to have something like GT1 World Series we had last winter, but you would have to declare your tyre manufacturer before the season. That would be adding, I think certainly that would add something to it.
Yeah, and if, you know, like the Avons and the Toro tires were a little better, let's say, on the fast flowing tracks, but custard on the tight twisted tracks with lots of tire wear, and the Michelins and the Chromos were great on the, you know, great handling of high wear tracks, but a little more custard on the fast tracks, you know, you would have to choose what balance did you want.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, then again, in classes like GTR class, you would have the addition that you have a rear engine, naturally aspirated car against the front engine turbocharged rear drive car, which would, of course, again change how the tires are being used. So that's just the great thing about not having a spec tire series like World Endurance Championship, European Le Mans Series, and so on and so forth. Although, well, in real life, everyone ends up choosing Michelin anyways if they can, but, well, at least in GT cars.
The thing my kind of pipe dream for LFS is to have, you know, you can choose some of the components. Like for a league, you can build your car in a sense. You know, the admin can set the specifications and sort of limit the choices, but within that set, you can choose what you want. You declare it for the season, you choose what you want. You know, the schedule's published in advance, you look at the schedule, you decide kind of where you want, you know, you kind of decide where you think that based on your driver's skill, their abilities, and everything. You know, I think that adds the immersion that you have to kind of choose before the season, and then you have to take what you choose to make the best of it each round.
Well, that's basically just how kart worked before the split. With the different chassis and engines, and of course then also different tyre manufacturers. A few years, I think 95 was the first year Firestone came in again and challenged Goodyear and made Goodyear not that happy by actually not being that bad.
So, Ilari Usela, having completed 18 of the scored laps, still leads. Everything pretty well spread out so far.
Pretty much so, but well, was to be expected.
And Pitkanen spins at the hairpin coming out of the oval. Does a little bit of a half spin.
Oh, it's not too bad from that corner actually. Doesn't appear to have lost too much from it. So finding the right direction, going again. So probably more of a wake-up call than a proper mistake.
Just looking at Pitkanen's damage. A little bit of toe damage on the right rear, a little bit of damper damage, and then some control arm damage on the left front and right rear. But mostly negligible amounts. As you say, resets fast lap to 11:79.
At least he didn't pit halfway, so he didn't destroy my world. For long stints for the win.
Usela behind Dominik coming into the oval. Dominik yields. So Usela no issues there.
Dustin Doss is crabbing back to the pit with a car that's a bit more bent than he would like it to be. Got overtaken by Ronnie Krompers there through the S-bends in Sector 2.
Obviously hit the wall somewhere.
About he's got very weak suspension.
And off is Stankovic.
Oh, that
with a
one,
big
that
off.
bent. Oh,
He's obviously gone
Oh,
now, and he's just
what?
turned it off. That's
Oh,
a rage quit. That'll be a
that's-
5-point penalty.
Oh, well. I'm not going to comment on that one.
That's... yeah. Anyway. So Usela continues to lead, 21... or excuse me, 20 laps in the book on the 21st now. So as mentioned earlier, Kyoto 500 in 2 weeks, Dom, and 6th annual this year. And I think one thing we found every year is that it is a lottery, but it's also a test of patience and endurance, and still some of skill.
Oh, well, it's surely a test of patience. I'm not sure it's in the way... I'm not sure I'm thinking that in the same way as you do. Certainly not after the last 2 runnings.
I think
I'm
thinking it the same way you are, yes.
Certainly not after what happened to me in the last 2 Kyoto 500s, which went excellently.
Cabal spun, coming out into the chicane, and he's collected the tires. You just clipping the grass on entry.
And he's also got a barbecue going on his left rear tire.
That'll make things a little interesting until he lets them cool down.
Also, certainly that he's now got a shorter wheelbase on the left and on the right after that accident. Which is obviously one of the great things about LFS. Instead of just braking, the suspension endlessly bends. Which is
well, you know
also very
perfectly
interesting.
well, Dom, that if LFS suspension broke, no one would go past lap 5.
Well, no, actually, I'm starting to think maybe people would stop crashing.
That's my argument.
Definitely in these cars, I doubt they would stop crashing in TVOs, because in TVOs everyone drives like it's BTCC 1992 Silverstone.
I'm going for first, he says.
Yeah, with the middle finger up in the middle of the windscreen and onboard camera focus, actually.
Classic Marvel.
It was probably the world's best way to distract from something rude going on in the race. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen on that part.
So with 12 laps to go, some tires looking a little cool and thin, down up in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, I would certainly not surprised to see everyone in the lead pack changing them in the pit stop. Mainly because even without the safety car, they're absolutely freezing cold.
Watching Pikkarainen, his tires are doing fairly well at the point, but coming up on 48 minutes into the race, we have a spinner in the final chicane. That is Kirani coming back
And
on
he's-
after clouding the tire, and he's got the wheelbase off again.
Got 2 different specs of car on either side of it. What we really need in LFS to make these races exciting is the old Lola A1 GP car with the Cytec engine and the Cooper tires, which were made from old rubber ducks and lasted about 12 minutes.
The first season or 2 of A1GP?
Not the. I think it was actually the first 3 they used that chassis engine tire combination. Then they went to the Ferrari on the Michelins. It was of course based on a 2002 Ferrari, which cost a lot more money, and then A1GP went a bit too sit.
You know,
with an H.
in the pits?
Yeah, tires. I think more degradable tires would certainly add something to a spec series like this or Formula One, for example. And yes, I know F1 is not a spec series, but everyone knows what I mean.
So Yellow Stallo exit in the pits, and Dom, let's talk about this pit exit. It's usually the entry the other way around, but it's got no curves, but it's the chicane, and as you see, people usually like to try and shortcut it as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no disadvantage in shortcutting it, and there's no one who's gonna tell you off for it. It's not a pit exit / entry I like, because I just absolutely don't see the point of that chicane. Just to give you another place to have a massive crash at. Or spin from having too much rear brake balance, like I did in the 24-hour race, trying to brake really late in the night into that pit lane. Good job no one saw that because it wasn't on the stream.
The GT1 24-hour race, you mean?
Yes, that one.
The one with the classic for everyone else except your team, finished for third.
I have no idea. It was the worst finish for third I've ever seen. No idea what you're talking about.
As I say, it's, you know, this guy's perspective, this team. It's a classic.
Let's say, I'm gonna be very honest, I was not very happy to have points taken away by a team that didn't even do the rest of the championship. That's really why I wasn't very happy about it, because I knew pretty much 100% sure they weren't gonna do the rest of the championship.
Yeah, your sudden disappearance from the commentary box was obviously noticed. It was a good 24-hour race overall.
Ulastallo's timing out! Ulastallo's timing out! He's got the timeout counter above his name and is rather invisible. Which
12,
usually...
13. He did the same thing last round.
It may be the same time of day again, because...
It's around then.
I don't know, it might be.
There he goes.
He is gone, timed out, so...
Has he gotten Simon Cattell's old internet timer?
That one, actually.
So just having
really
another
bad
look
internet.
at the tires of the top two. How much longer do we think they can go reasonably, Dom?
I think they could even make it to the end with a lot of praying, but they're probably gonna leave it very late, last 10 laps. Well, we're already in the last 10 laps actually, till the pit stop.
Third place, Pikkanen. His tire's not looking that bad off comparatively.
No, certainly not. I think he would. Well, the top three certainly is of the variety that make the end of a race. Maybe on, well, I don't know, with 4% pace, but I don't think it's worth the risk. So they're probably all gonna change the tires. Oh, and Gisela pits from the leads, so that's set.
And Pikkanen,
25 laps on a set of tires.
So Gisela leads that lap. Gisela already having clinched the most laps led. Pikkanen overtakes. Now the advantage of this is that you're entering the pit lane, and the start-finish, the control line, is just after the pit speed limit line.
Yeah, basically don't lose a lot of time on the in-lap, you just basically lose the time that you lose from braking down to the pit speed limit. Oh, you set it already out, let's hope it doesn't cut the pit well, he's not going to cut that, it because the exit line is wide enough for about 3 cars. Comes out second on the road.
So as Pikkarainen ascends to lead, Ulrich in the pits.
Already going. Well, although the disadvantage then is if you stop early in an early pit box, you feel like it takes about half the way to early 2009 to get to the end of the pit lane. Oh God! He always spins on the grass on the pit exit, and almost runs off in turn 2. So certainly no lack of exciting action there while making a pit stop and rejoining the track. It's gonna be interesting to see when Pikkarainen and Pikkanen are gonna pit.
Be interesting to see if now he's got. We'll have to see what the gap is. Pikkarainen staying on the track. We'll check the gap at the start-finish line. It's.
I don't think he can drive.
It's a long gap, so if
it's a long gap, yeah, but it's also a very long pit lane here.
It's not really worth trying to stretch it for 8 more laps.
Pitkanen in. And Tukila also in. Can't jumpstart his pit stop at least, but cheekily pulling right in front of him, right in front of Pitkanen in the pit stop, which is, well, 100% on purpose. That's for sure. Tukila also away.
Peeking in out of the pit lane, alright. Tukila now exiting.
Doesn't cut the grass on the exit chicane as much as most others.
26-second gap first to second, so 26 seconds for Pikkarainen to play with, but Ysela obviously having raw pace over Pikkarainen, so you know, it's almost, to some they might argue that it's worth Pikkarainen taking a gamble to try and stretch his tires. But on the other hand, I don't really think they're going to make it.
They might just make it, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think the right rears to Finland, to be honest.
A slide or a flat spot will pretty much do it. In the pits, Pikkarainen in.
Let's see if he's going to change tires. I presume yes. And no, he doesn't! So there we go. There's someone to watch. And that means he's going to get the lead, for sure. For sure he's going to get the lead like that.
Ysela out of the final corner. He'll have a head of steam, but Pikkarainen now accelerating.
Oh, it's going to be very, very close. We go, Ysela coming around turn 1. Pikkarinen's already through the left-right chicane, so a massive gamble there to try and get the race win. Obviously nothing to lose for him or Team Virus, because so far they weren't exactly the biggest scorers for in this season. Just not sure it's worth doing that, because we saw exactly what happened to Ysela when he didn't do it in round 1. This is a track where you can overtake a lot easier.
Pikkarainen, if the tires keep, he'll have to make that car as wide as the earth. Couple tires, right side tires off on the grass on the exit of that corner.
It's not too bad around here in the second sector because of where the corners are. You just have a lot of downforce, so would be worse in the next corner. We're coming to the last hairpin before the last bit of the track. Obviously, mechanical grip is more important.
At the line, at the line this time, 6 to go. This is cutting it close.
1.16 seconds between both of them. Just as in 2 of the previous races, it's strategy deciding this one.
Looking at the back from Pikkarainen.
Oh, absolutely no mechanical grip out of that corner there. It's just Tokyo drifting his way through a hairpin.
When you're looking at the tire temperatures in Live for Speed, for those who may not be familiar, you can't see it because of the way TV Director works. We're looking at it. You know, it shows the sidewalls, the shoulders, inside, middle, and out, tread depth. It shows the core temperature. The middle layer on the left rear tire is the thinnest on the right rear, and the left rear tire, the inside is it's kind of it's a pretty stable cliff off, but that inside in the shoulder on Pikkarainen's is pretty worn down.
Well, I think he's got enough grip to maybe get to the end, but in which position is going to be a question. I certainly wouldn't have done what he did. I certainly wouldn't have done what he did. 0.76 of a second between them.
Catching is one thing, obviously. Overtaking is a totally different.
The way he's exiting the slow corners, he's just a sitting duck on the oval.
You get one move per straight for a block. Every time he slides, it generates just a little more heat in the tires.
But also, of course, takes off that little millimeter more tread that he's got. Which
he needs every millimeter he can get. He may need about 10 more millimeters than he's got.
Maybe just putting on his front tires on the rear and his rear on the front for the last few corners.
Other than the fact that the rear tires are wider than the fronts.
I think he won't care about that one.
R3 tires for both. Five to go. Once again, round 4 of the 2013 LFSCART Series, the Speedweeks Road 250K. Jonathan Palmer and Dominik Engel with you, watching the battle for the lead with 5 to go. Matthias Pikkarainen trying to stretch a single set of R3 tires all the race. Ilari Usela led from pole. Fresh tires from about 6 laps ago. Trying to chase. I think it's down to if it's obviously going to be down to if Pikkarainen can keep those tires and keep enough pace and defend proper and well enough.
But if he's got anything to defend himself with, because it's surely not going to be the tires. It's going to be all driving.
Let's remind ourselves of the overtaking and blocking rules. To block, you get one move away from the racing line and one move back. If the car that you're trying to block achieves overlap, you have to consider your blocking move to have failed and leave them racing room. Overlap being front wing, rear wheels in the open wheel cars. Gap 4/10 at the line, 4 to go. Looking over the shoulder of Ilari Usela. Watch, listen.
Problem is, if Pickerainen doesn't slide through the slow corners, he hasn't got a blinding chance to get close in the fast corners. But I think he might just have a very late draft into the second hairpin, and he does. And he's gonna go to the inside, and Pickerainen moves over a bit. You say I should easily go past him, and he doesn't because he can't. He doesn't have enough room to use his traction advantage. It's one defensive move. As I said, Pickerainen has absolutely got no tyres or whatsoever left to defend himself. It's got to be all driving, all lines, all defensive maneuvers.
And that was a clean defense. Three to go at the line. Looking out the back, Pickerainen.
Oh, and we have a battle for sixth as well at the same time between Joni Tomla and Martin Kapal, and they're also side by side heading to the second hairpin. Let's see how that goes between them. Like Martin is going to lose a spot there. You only very lose on the exit, so you might just be able to benefit on because of that. I think the next few corners are a bit too quick to do so. And he's got to be actually somewhat careful not to just run straight up in the draft. So that's Martin Cabal, another place down.
Back to the front, another trip through the oval, 3 to go now.
This was a real race. Pickerainen would by now be driving through the marbles in order to get more tread.
I think Usela might have that long draft again. No, I think he's not.
I think he's too far away. I think he's too far away this time.
Oh, those tires are so close on Pickerainen.
I think they're still thick enough to last, but well. Oh God! Why?
Usela, unable to react, has to slow down. He could have had a brilliant run compared to Pickerainen.
Oh my God!
But that just
could have
pure
been...
luck. Usela just couldn't change his line in time, had to back off. Profit Pickerainen for now.
I don't. Oh, dear God, he's making me look more nervous than anyone else. Jesus.
Again over the shoulder with Usela. Over just ahead, Pickerainen. I don't think lap traffic will be an issue. There's some cars a little bit ahead, but I don't think they're going to catch it.
Far
enough go at the line.
Yeah. Especially not at the pace he's going at. Driving around on, well, 10-year-old chewing gum by now. If you want to know which chewing gum, Rick likes to bear mint, to be correct. Oh, another twitch in the last corner.
What do you do as a driver at this point? If you're Pickerainen, what you can do? What can you do, if anything?
Soften
other than
up
drag
the
your
rear.
eye out?
Just soften up the rear end. That's all you can do. Soften up the rear end. Put the brake balance to the front. that's all he can do other than just drive in, not slide around like a D1 drifter.
You know, after you've said Wrigley's Spearmint Dome, I'm going to have to see if I can get them to sponsor us. 2 to go. This is for the lead.
I think Wrigley's Spearmint are really the people who made the tyres for A1GP. Oh, Yosella definitely got the draft this time. Instantly to 6th gear, doesn't want the draft early. Might have just lost it by doing that. No, it's still close enough. Just.
Pickerainen trying to break it. Usela, huge run.
Limiter.
Oh, not enough gear!
Oh,
Contact
God.
side to side. Usela, has he got it? Yes! Ilari Usela, 2 to go. Lead.
Tried to make the break zone a lot more exciting by trying to crash each other off. But yeah, you sell it through, and it's going to be interesting. I don't think Pickerainen can challenge back.
Without a mistake from Usela, I think that is it. Yes.
But Pickerainen hasn't even got any rear grip in the corners where the downforce should do the grip, so he's driving on raw eggs. He's got another lap after this one. Although, to be honest, he could probably just pit and change tyres now, and he would lose 2nd place. So, but then there's always that chance of a mistake from the seller, and I don't think he's gonna want to miss that one.
7.7 kilometers of this Kyoto Grand Touring track left. Ilari Usela, after chasing and pressuring Pickerainen, takes the lead. Usela putting it nearly off.
He's gone wide. He's gone. Well, he's
But
gone very wide.
Pickerainen's unable to capitalize. Not enough grip.
Did capitalize a bit, but just in that last lap, he was over a second slower.
No draft for Pickerainen. But again, several challenging corners, and of course that last corner, if Usela puts it too wide, he could still lose it. So Usela through the sweeps for the final time. A little bit of a twitch. Pickerainen putting it a little wider.
Oh, Pickerainen, he's just got no grip left on those rear tyres. If they don't blow through the last corner, it's gonna be a miracle.
Ilari Usela clean off the final corner. Pickerainen clean. Ilari Usela takes round 4. 4 winners, 4 different races in the LFSCART Series. Well, Terry picking in a little bit of traffic. Got Dustin Dawes to overtake. So Pitkanen has come across. Martin Kapal coming across the line. And the last cars, Ronnie Kronfors and Thomas Karani. Didn't see what happened. I personally didn't see it. So Karani across. And Kronfors coming now. And he heads straight into the pit lane. So all cars have finished. Valtteri Pikkanen heading through the oval on his cooldown lap. So is everyone slowly making their way back to the pit lane? Take a look at the provisional results here for round 4 of the Kyoto Speedweeks 250K. The winner, Ilari Jusela, completing the 34 laps. Matthias Pikkarainen second, Valtteri Pitkanen third, Jesse Telkala fourth, his worst finish so far this season, but 2 top 3s and a first, that's still not bad. Top 5 throughout the season so far. Jani Tormela fifth, Martin Kapal sixth, 7th Thorsten Ulrich, 8th Thomas Karani, Ronnie Kronfors 9th, 10th Zdenek Kagash, 11th Jaroslav Danilik, and 12th Dustin Dawes. Those last 3, Kagash, Danilik, and Dawes, a lap down. Retirements, R2 Yellow timing out, 11 laps down. Stakevicius spectating on course, 15 laps down, 14th. And 15th, Roland Osa, 24th. So as we see, as everyone is slowly working their way back to the pit lane. We see Pikkarainen and Jusela. We'll work on getting the top 3 to the TeamSpeak here for post-race interviews. Now we've got everyone in the channel except for Pikkarainen. We wait to get everyone in here. Be just another minute. Raw race time, not discounting the formation lap. The official time will be without the formation lap. 1 hour 17:48.1. No safety cars, which is always good. Okay, well, no microphone for our second place finisher, Pikkarainen, which is extremely disappointing because I really wanted to talk to him about his tire strategy. But we'll start with we'll go with first and third since they're here. Ilari Usela, congratulations on your win. It was a great race, no safety cars. What was your strategy? Did your strategy work out exactly the way you wanted it? Did you have any issues?
This race, yes, Tilkala made my strategy and it went pretty well, and thanks to him.
Did you expect Pikkarainen to not take tires? He didn't take tires. Did you even know he didn't take tires on his pit stop?
Well, I didn't expect him to do such a risky thing, but yeah.
All right, we'll come back to you in just a second. And third place, Valtteri Pitkänen. Good strong run for you. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, well, after I saw R2 timed out, I was just trying to avoid mistakes and trying to drive as safely as possible. But, well, Jesse was catching me pretty quickly, but fortunately he couldn't have catch me before the finish. But I didn't really expect a podium finish. I was accepting like maximum of top 5 finishing or something, but yeah, but well, it was really much better than I expected.
Coming into this race, what was your bigger concern? Was it stretching the tires, or were you already thinking coming into this race that you'd have to pit during the race?
Yeah, well, the tires were working fine for me, but yeah.
Ilari, back to you. This is the end of the first 4 road course races. Have the Kyoto 500 next week, or in 2 weeks' time, excuse me, qualifying next weekend. If either of you are going to do the Kyoto 500, well, we would definitely appreciate your presence. We love to have multidiscipline drivers participating. We love to have the LFSCART full-time entrants participating in that event. But looking forward to the rest of the season. We come back to, we have a Kyoto National round. We have Fern Bay, South City still coming up, so some pretty tough races. What are you most looking forward to in the remainder of the season?
I will not participate any next race, so yeah. I'm pretty sure about that, but we'll see.
Alright, well, we'll finish with some comments from each of you in your native language, starting with Ilari.
Kiitokset Jesselle tästä täydellisestä kisastrategiasta. Jos voin voittaa tätä ilman sitä. Tämä oli täydellinen kisa minulle. Kiitokset Jesselle, koko Suomelle ja Valtterille, joka oli täydellinen tuki tässä tilanteessa. Ja Joonakselta sitä pitäisi ottaa bännit pois tästä sarjasta ja semmoista. Ja hän ei pilannut Samsan mainetta. Thanks.
You're welcome, and again, congratulations, Ilaria. And Mr. Pitkänen, comments from you in your native language.
Joo, no kiitoksia vaan Jessille kuulehdistä, se toimii ihan hyvin. Ja sitten kisasetti oli Sasha Rieglerin, se oli ihan hyvä, kiitoksia vaan sinnekin päin. Ja Joonaksen bannia voisi tosiaan harkita niin poistettavaksi, koska ne on annettu sille aika turhaa, ja sehän ei sitten pilannut Samson mainetta loppujen lopuksi, vaikka niin luullaan. Ja kiitoksia vaan Ilvelle hyvästä kitaseurasta ja byö.
Right, thank you, gentlemen. Again, unfortunately, we couldn't have Matthias Pickerainen in at the end, but again, congratulations to the other podium finishers. First place, Ilar Jusela, the winner, and Valtteri Pitkinen in third. Thank you, gentlemen. And Dom, it was quite an interesting strategy race again, like round one.
Yeah, pretty much. Although this time it was, well, purely strategy, not just the fact that we had a light race safety car. And I think Pickerainen probably risked a lot by not changing tires, but then he saw a chance to win, and the gap to third was big enough to try and take that chance. Well, sometimes you just gotta gamble, and with such a gap, it probably was the right thing to at least try.
So 2 weeks' time, the Kyoto 500. Dom, what do you kind of think for that? We already had a few practice sessions. Some of them have seen some pretty good racing, but I think we'll get more of those to judge that in this next week. For those who are the regular 500 or regular LFSCART participants who participate in this year's 500, what are we going to expect from them?
Well, pretty much the normal stuff. Lots of cautions, lots of drafting, lots of accidents, someone flipping into the pit lane, and people turning left. I'm not sure. I don't think you can expect anything really, because it's, well, while being the same every year, it's never the same.
Alrighty. So 2 weeks' time is the 6th annual Kyoto 500, June 29th. Be right here live on simrace.tv. And then following that, in 4 weeks from now, July 13th, the City 250, 80 laps at South City Town Course Reversed. And SO5 is one of the more frequented combos for LFSCART, and it's challenging. You got the walls right next to you on the track, no runoff.
Yeah, well, I wasn't around in 2010 at SO5, and it's certainly one of the harder South City tracks in the FOA, especially because you've got such a fast first corner, and then the rest of the track is quite slow and tight compared to it. So we'll see how that pans out, how many people are going to turn up for it. But well, making predictions now is probably a bit too soon. So I guess we're going to have to wait till that round takes place.
Indeed. And before we wrap up today, just a sad note to mention from the real racing world. Ferrari's first Formula One winner, Jose Froilan Gonzalez, has died at the age of 90 years today. Relayed to me through Theo Falkenberg, won the 1951 British Grand Prix in Silverstone and the 1954 Le Mans 24 Hours. So it's one of the pioneers of Ferrari in Formula One. So it's a bit of a sad note to end, but definitely Ferrari is still a strong stable in F1, and we had great racing, but definitely the F1 community and the Ferrari community for sure will honor him in the way they see fit, but we'll pass that on for everyone's knowledge. So, Dom, your final thoughts on today?
Well, strategy race as expected. A bit closer than I thought it would be, especially at the very front, and let's hope it continues to be like that in the future races, because in this season, which is, in my opinion, definitely weaker than the last three, where it needs that to still be, well, let's say, to still be called the top open wheel series in LFS.
Completely agreed. Once again, congratulations to Ilar Jusela on his first win in the LFSCART 2013 series. 2 weeks' time, Chris Wilkinson, if he shows up, Dominik Engel and Thilo Falkenberg are the preliminarily scheduled commentators for the Kyoto 500. Hope to see you then here on simrace.tv. Again, thanks to Jonathan Provost, Rescue Car, Stuart Baker, Safety Car, who had the easiest job of all today, and Thilo Falkenberg, Race Director and Series Chairman. For Dominik Engel, I'm John Palmer, saying good night from Kyoto Grand Prix.